And he had been hit by a car.
Oh. Andy was hit by a
No,
car? Oh.
Huey Alex's father.
Huey Alex's
Was he killed, Mom?
Oh, okay, we're talking about, okay, yeah, I got mixed up there, so.
So that was our entertainment. We'd sing Huey Alex songs. And I made a song, my brother and I made a song for Margaret's wedding. They started a grand fight. And I forgot the words of it, but there was a fella at Canoe Lake, Don Lee, no, what was his first name?
Link, anyway, was it?
He was a link.
Lots of links in West Louisbourg.
No, yeah, no,
Yeah.
this was in Canoe Lake.
Oh,
She
Canoe
was
Lake,
young,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
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 Duncan Link.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he remembered every word of it. And Pat said she's got the report. She's got the copy that he gave me.
I meant to bring it, but I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you still remember the air of it? How you sang it? Da 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 da.
One cold frosty morning, a wedding took place in Grandmira Parish on February 8th. 4 horses and sleighs to Grandmira did go through desperate roads that were covered with snow. The marriage being over, for home we did start, and my memory is shot.
That's great. Wow. I wouldn't say shot. It's better than mine. Your memory's better than mine.
You can't be my age.
What's your secret to a long life?
What?
What's your secret to a long life?
Was I
said,
what?
What is your secret to a long life?
Plant potatoes and make hay and swing the scythe.
Sign?
Get lots of exercise.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of exercise that I don't get now.
Yeah.
If I could get up and walk.
Yeah.
And after I was grown up and I had worked at different places, I worked for Dr. Townsend and his wife, and that was a busy spot. And then I got bedridden and I don't get any exercise.
Yeah.
At least you have your daughters visiting you all the time, so that's good. That's good. So
If they what?
you have your daughters visiting you a lot, so that's good. So
Yes.
if the road was reopened from Cane to Cove to Gabroos, would that be a good thing, you think?
Oh, that would make me feel good. I wrote a letter once to the editor, and I said, we drove over that place. That was our mail route, and for a lot of people it was their school route for so many years. Now they blame it on the fortress. Now we've got the fortress, so why don't they stop there and give us the highway?
Give us a road back.
Yeah.
Well, they can't blame the fortress for everything. We already have the fortress for what good it is to us. But they close the road. And if they close the road because of the fortress, well, already, why blame it on the fortress now? We have the fortress, so we should have a paved road from Gabroos to Louisbourg. It would mean so much for the Tourist Association, for the people who come to, after I was done working at housework and I got married, I ran a little restaurant. The Shell gas station was operated by Tom, and I ran the restaurant. And people would come in and they'd say, where is the extra, where is the different route back to Sydney? There is none. You gotta go back the way you came. So that was a big disappointment to a lot of people. So at that time we should have had a road going straight, a paved road, I mean a good road.
Yeah.
Going straight through from Kennington Cove up to Gabruce and right around to Sydney.
Yeah.
And that's what we're fighting for now.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it'll work this time.
And where they treat us as if they were all deaf. And I know what being deaf is. I'm deaf myself.
But you felt they never listened to you.
Huh?
You felt the government never listened to you?
No, that they just look at us as if we were crazy.
Just in the way. You were just in the way, I guess. That's what they
That hurts.
Huh?
That hurts,
Yeah.
you know, when you've got a real good reason for asking those things, and then they turn deaf ears to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was kind of hard to fight them. It
Yeah.
was very difficult to fight them, was it? Yeah.
So
There's no options. No.
people like yourself are going to help us a lot. So they'll turn a deaf ear to that too.
I hope not.
They'll put a little tiny sketch in the paper.
Well, these people in Gabruce, they have a very good way
The
about
people in Gabruce are
Yeah,
working for it too.
Yeah.
It would mean so much to Gabruce.
Yes. Yeah.
There isn't an eating place or an entertainment place in Gabruce.
Yeah. It hurt Gabruce a lot when the road was shut down.
Mom has a niece that lives in Gabruce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charlotte. Charlotte lives in Gabruce.
Oh yeah, that's my niece,
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Margaret's daughter.
Yeah. So
And
did
she's a fighter too.
oh. Did you get to Gabruce very much after the road shut down?
No, after my husband died, I had no way of traveling.
Okay. Yeah.
I depend on when somebody else takes me.
But Mom, you and Dad used to go a lot to visit Charlotte.
Oh, Dad and
Yeah.
I went everywhere.
Yeah, but you had to go through Marion Bridge and all around the long way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everywhere, all the way to Quebec.
So far to go.
And my mother was from Herbert Bourgeois.
Okay.
I've got a lot of relatives there.
Yeah. French. So you have French in
French.
your family. Yeah.
She was, what do you call it, French?
Acadian.
Oh, Acadian. Okay.
Acadian.
Acadian?
Acadian range, yeah. Her name was Landry,
Okay. Yeah.
Charlotte Landry. And I had a first cousin who came to live with me when my girls were little tiny children. And her husband was in the Navy, and he was stationed in Louisbourg. And she came and lived with me and helped me work with the little kids. Water.
Oh.
I'm so dry.
Oh.
Might have to edit some of this.
Oh. Oh, it's very good. No, it's all very good. So, no.
I'm glad now I had them.
Had what? Had.
I'm glad I had them.
Oh. The good girls.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I had 4 girls.
Okay.
One of them died.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
You had a
I don't know if you knew her or not.
You have a
Rose
brother?
Bates.
Yeah, Tommy.
Tom. Okay, yes, okay, yeah.
You forgot
You
Tommy,
didn't
Mom.
ask her about that church.
Well, I
Oh,
had
okay, yes, yeah.
4 girls and 1 boy.
Can you tell me about the church in Oceanview?
Pardon?
Can you tell me a little bit about the church in Oceanview? The church.
Yeah, we went to the little church, St. Mary's. And Tom and I were married there.
Okay. What year was that? Were you married?
1941.
Okay. Yeah. Do you remember what the priest's name was?
Father Bryden.
Oh,
Father Angus Bryden.
okay. So it was a nice church?
It was a tiny little church.
Yeah. Well, what was it like on the inside?
Oh, it was a complete little chapel.
Yeah.
It
So,
had everything that the little church needed. And I remember when we were tiny little children, and they'd wake us up at 6 o'clock in the morning because church started at 8:30. But you all had to be there for confession before Mass. So we'd have to be there at 7:45. And they'd wake us up early and we'd walk. It was about 3 miles to walk. But our parents would walk with us. And I remember the little church. It had a little choir loft. And at one time I was in the choir.
so the church was torn down too, the expropriation?
It was torn down years after
Oh, after.
expropriation. It was sold to a man who tore it down and used the lumber to build a little house.
Okay.
Louis Gatto. He built a little house on Gambrouge Highway, and he still has the house. Well, not him, he's dead. He and his wife are gone. She was a McIntyre from French Road, and Louis was from New Waterford. And he bought the little church and he tore it down and he used the material to build a little house.
But I guess when the people from Deep Cove were no longer living there, the church was no longer useful, was it, I guess?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That was the only church. And you'd only get a church service once a week because the priest would have to come from Grand Myra.
Okay.
And he'd have daily service there, but once a week. And if it was bad weather, it would be once every 2 weeks.
Mom, tell him about when you went to Grand Myra to make your confirmation and having a drive in a car.
Oh, yes, when I was 10 years old, I had first driving an automobile.
Okay.
There was a Gillis man. His wife was a sister to Mrs. Thomas next door. And he had a brand new car. It was a Model T.
Okay.
That was in 1920.
How did you feel about that?
Oh boy, were we proud. We went to his home and he drove us up to the church for instructions. And he took us back to his home and kept us overnight.
Okay.
And then he brought us back to the church for confirmation the next day. And that was our first ride in the car. And later on, Bill Mullen's father told me that he bought a brand new Model T in 1921 for $500. So that was years before the cars. There was too many cars on the road that I remember.
So the main way to get around back then was walking or by horse?
Horse and wagon or horse and sleigh.
Okay.
you'd start out with a horse and sleigh, and you'd pray that somebody would come along behind you and pick you up.
And you start off walking.
Yeah.
But we'd be walking. And we'd always make an effort to go down to Louisbourg for midnight mass. And we'd leave in the morning and we'd walk. And we'd walk. And we'd walk. And then very seldom there'd be somebody come along to pick us up. But then we'd get to Louisbourg, dragged out and tired, and we'd go to our uncle's and we'd stay there till midnight mass. We all go to church with them, and the next morning, after having a little sleep, we'd hit the road and back home again. Sounds like a Western story.
Sounds great. Was there anything that most people in Deep Cove, I guess, fished today?
Pardon?
Most people in Deep Cove fished for a living?
Yes.
Okay.
John Archie Thomas and his son, and Dan Thomas and his son, they all fished lobsters. And the people in Kennington Cove, the McGinnises and the Bagnalls, they all fished lobsters. And the McGinnises, yeah.
But your father didn't fish.
And McIsaacs.
Your father didn't fish.
No.
What did he do?
He worked for the Dominion Coal Company.
Oh,
he was a coal trimmer.
In Louisbourg?
In Sydney.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he boarded in Sydney. And he'd only get home once a week.
Okay.
Or once every 2 weeks. When he was on his shift that he could leave in the morning and take the train to Louisbourg and walk probably from Louisbourg to the Campbell's Hill. Then at the time he had to walk all the way from the railway station in Louisbourg.
Would you take the train often in Louisbourg? Would you go on a train to Glace Bay?
Well, when my children were small, if they had to go to a doctor, Tom was in the army, and I would have to call a taxi or somebody to drive me to the railway station, and I'd have to take them by train to Glace Bay to a doctor, because there was no way you could go to Sydney if you didn't have a car. And once Tom went in the army, I had no transportation.
Okay. Train was the only way to go then?
Train was the only way to go. And I'd go to the doctor in Glace Bay, and then I'd go to Tom's uncle's place until Tom would come in after work and pick me up and take me back home again.
So doctor...
But at that time you could go to Glace Bay on the train at 8 o'clock in the morning and come back at 2 o'clock for 60 cents. That's all it cost.
So Dr. Mosier went everywhere as a doctor. Like he made house calls.
Dr. Mosier, and then Dr.
Mosier was later. Who was the doctor when they were little?
That was Dr. O'Neill, wasn't it? When we were small.
No, Dr.
There was a Dr. Saunders.
Saunders, yeah.
Before Mosier.
Yeah.
Dr. Saunders before Dr. Mosier.
Yeah.
But he would come to Oceanview though?
Dr. Mosier went in the army.
But
and then he came back afterwards.
Mom, what doctor, when you lived, when you guys were living in Deep Cove, what doctor would come up there?
Oh, there was an old school doctor. I forget.
Was he an O'Neill?
No.
No.
Dr. Kendall.
Kendall.
Dr. Kendall.
Why
yeah.
did you say why did you call him a school doctor?
Because he always came to the school. And he'd check all the children. And if there was an epidemic of whooping cough or something, he'd mitigate them.
That was before
He was the school doctor. He was the county doctor.
Okay.
Okay.
Dr. Kendall. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No, I haven't. No.
He had a horse and wagon. The wagon was tied together with hay wire.
Oh.
They called him the haywire doctor.
But he was a good doctor, was he? Was he a good doctor?
He was an old man
Okay.
then. Dr. Kendall. But after that, there was a doctor in Yale Bruce called Dr. Hutchinson.
Oh, okay. Right.
And he used to come over and make calls. But then we decided we depended on the doctor from Louisbourg.
Okay.
Anybody got sick or if anybody was expecting a new baby, they had to contact the doctor in Louisbourg.
So what was a winter night like in Deep Cove?
What was my life like?
No, what was like a winter? Winters are always long, even now.
Oh
what was a
my,
winter
they
night
were
like?
worse than they are now.
Okay.
Yeah, there was more and more and more snow.
So in the wintertime, when it got dark so early, what would you do after supper?
Do your homework.
What else? What else would you do?
Play cards.
Did you have, who were your friends when you were growing up?
Yes.
Who were your school friends?
Margaret Thomas and Mary Ann and Harry and Emby.
And what would you guys do, like?
Oh, we look at the catalog. Look at Eaton's catalog and
Would you have a-
wish.
Oh, go ahead.
That
Sorry.
was the wish book.
Oh, okay.
Third floor.
And then we'd probably go out and skate or snowball or something.
Throw snowballs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's 30.
We didn't have any sports.
Yeah. Well, what would you have? A fireplace going? Fireplace? Or you have a wood stove? Fireplace going in the home?
Pardon me?
Pardon?
Would you have a fireplace in your home?
No, the wood stove.
Wood stove. Okay.
Almost as soon as you go into the...
How about
My father would go in the woods and he'd cut about 60 or 70 loads of wood. And he'd stand them to season.
Okay.
And the next year he'd cut them for firewood because they'd be dried out. And he'd pile up the firewood instead of the dried logs.
So would people visit each other often in Deep Cove? Like, would people be very social in Deep Cove? Visit each other a lot?
Yeah, they'd help each other.
Okay.
They'd have what they call a chopping frolic.
Oh, what
And
was that?
everybody would get together and go in the woods and chop enough wood for one family. The next next week, they'd go and do the same thing for the next family. It was a matter of sharing.
Yeah.
We knew all about sharing.
Yeah.
And if we didn't, we couldn't exist.
Yeah.
And all through Oceanview and French Road, that's the way they lived. French Road was a little settlement. I knew all the people there, though. Father McPhee's father and mother. I knew them well. And Father McPhee came to my 100th birthday
Oh.
here at the Cove.
Yeah.
Mom, tell them about the first telephone in Deep Cove.
Oh, well, there were no company would put a phone line through. So the parish priest, Father John Bryden, decided that he was going to be the central. He was going to be central for the phone company, and he was going to put a bunch of men in the woods to cut the line and cut the trees and put a phone line through, and every house in the parish would have a phone. But they wouldn't pay to a company, they'd pay to him.
Okay.
And he had the central. And if you wanted to put a phone call through outside, you first had to call Father John Bryden. He was a man from Mabu.
Okay.
And he was a good technician. And he...
So the switchboard from, no, it was the
he
switchboard?
He was the switchboard.
Oh, he was the switchboard, okay. Oh.
Yeah, it was like a private.
Private, okay. Oh.
Community. Yeah. It was community development.
Oh.
Mom, tell him about the people that used to listen in on the lady that used to listen in on everybody's call.
Oh, yes, there was one. If the priest came out from Grand Myra to Oceanview, he stayed in a little house, McDonald's house, next to the church. So he was preaching one Sunday about misusing the phone line. He said, I don't want people listening in on everybody else's, because there was one continuous line for everybody.
Party line. Okay.
There was no private phones.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want to hear any more about people picking up the receiver and listening in on somebody else's conversation. And this woman spoke up and she said, well, you can't blame that on me, Father, because I only listen in when I hear the priest's ring going. He said, that's the time you should leave it alone. It's me they want, not you. She was ready to grab the phone every time it rang.
Yeah. So you moved down to West Louisbourg when you got married?
Pardon?
You moved to West Louisbourg when you got married? You moved to West Louisbourg when you got married?
Yes.
Okay.
No, you moved. You didn't live in Old Town when you got married first. We lived down in the town.
Oh, okay.
Near the ball field.
Oh, yes.
Tom's father owned a house there. I don't know who's in it now, but it's
Peters.
Been
okay. That used to be
resold.
McGinnis's, Walter.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, okay.
That was where she lived.
I think there's people called Peters
Yes, yeah.
who live in it now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But they improved it.
Yeah.
You moved to Old Town in 1953?
Huh?
You moved to Old Town
In 1952.
52.
So for 11 years, you lived in Louisbourg?
We lived
At the old
in
house.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there,
And I belonged to a club.
okay.
There were 15 women in the club. I knew them all.
What kind of club was it?
It was called a Christmas club. You put a certain amount of money in every week, and you took it all out for Christmas, for your Christmas shopping. And it went for 50 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
And the last person is still living, Camilla Pack.
Okay.
She's still living, but there was Kathy McIntyre and
Camilla?
Jesse Lewis.
Oh, yes. Okay.
They were still living at the time that I became 100. And they came to my 100th birthday. But they died since that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I'm a survivor, I guess.
Yeah.
I think
A tough old bird.
Yes, you're very, very tough. I hope I can live as long as you. So.
Pardon?
I hope I can live as long as you. Yeah. I said, I hope I can live as long as you.
Oh, it has its downfalls too.
Yeah.
You know, you lose so much when you live to be too old. You lose your eyesight. You lose your hearing. You lose your strength. You lose your memory.
I found your memory very good. I found your memory very good.
Well, I'm not as smart as I could be, I guess.
Yeah.
not as smart as she used to be, maybe, but she's smart.
Yeah, I'd say very much so. Yeah.
There's one thing lacking here. There should be a physiotherapist's outfit where they get us up and walk us every day. Like that, you'd never get bedridden.
Is there anything else you want to talk about Deep Cove or Kennington Cove?
Pardon?
Is there anything else you want to talk about regarding Deep Cove or Gabroos or Kennington Cove? Yeah.
Are you all talked out, Mum?
Huh?
Are you tired out? Have you talked enough?
No, I'm fine.
You're fine.
Was there any major events that happened in Deep Cove or Kennington Cove that you can remember? Maybe a boat going ashore, shipwrecks, or
About what?
was there any major event that might have happened in Gabroos or Deep Cove?
Well,
yeah.
I remember when the airplane fell in Pauline.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
that was-
Yeah.
There was a bunch of us started down. There was a guy from Gabroos had a truck. And my sister Margaret and I, and this man and his girlfriend, we all started down for Pauline. But when we got to the Louisbourg Pauline highway, we got stuck in the mud. And we had to go back home. We never did get to Pauline.
Burl Markham. Yeah.
But there was another man who used to he had a little sandwich place. And he made us a cup of tea and lunch there. And we went home. It was Billy Gallant. Do you remember that name?
I think I do. I think
Billy
yeah,
Gallant ran
yeah.
this little place.
Mum, tell him about the was it an October gale or a storm that?
The August gale.
August gale.
Oh yeah, that was in when was it?
Probably the 30s. Was it a boat that had a load of rum on it?
It was the 30s, all right.
Yeah.
But we had a different. The next morning after, all the farms were flooded. It was, what did they call it? They got a new name for it now.
Like a tsunami?
Salami now.
Tsunami.
Oh, tsunami. Oh,
tsunami.
okay.
A tidal
Tidal wave.
Okay, yeah.
Tidal wave came in. Our property was covered in water, and the Thomas property.
down on the lower part.
Yeah.
Down on the beach.
lower part.
Yeah.
Is that the one that hit Newfoundland also?
No.
Oh, different.
No,
Okay.
different one,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what about the boat?
Oh, there was a ship trying to make a landing over at Gabrus Point because there was a man there who bought and sold liquor. His name was Gaitan and Rittmeyer. There were two of them, German and Italian. And this ship was trying to get in with a load of liquor. And it foundered on Gabrus Rock. Harbor Rock, they called it.
Was the weather bad?
It was the same storm.
Oh, same storm. Okay. Oh.
7 men lost.
Oh, okay.
And the next morning, there were men going around looking for people to they were holding us something.
For an inquest?
Huh?
Was it an inquest?
An inquest, yeah.
Yeah.
They were looking for people to hold the inquest. And that took place down at John Archie Thomas's. And about a week later, there was one body picked up. A 17-year-old boy. His name was Lemoyne from North Sydney. And his father was captain of the ship. Water.
I think that's pretty good. She's talked a long time, so I'm gonna put this on.
1927 it was.
It was 27. John Port.
It was in 1927. Our coast being rocked by a August gale. And from his own seaport down in North Sydney, Captain Lemoyne did set sail. And he had his 12-year-old boy and his 17-year-old boy as part of the crew. And they were both lost.
Wow.
Sad. I want to thank you. I think this might be long enough.
Did you learn anything?
Oh, a lot. A whole lot. No, you're a good speaker. You have a good memory.
I'm glad you have one of those animals that can talk back to you.
Oh, oh, it's great. I appreciate it. Oh, this is great.
I wish I could remember